Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and in this review, we're taking a look at a brand new figure that I really know practically nothing about. I'm just going to cut to the chase right here. I'm not going to have any more dramatic blah blah blah, and let's just get into things here, because today I'm talking about a figure I'm super excited for, and this would be the FuRay Planet Master Weng action figure. And I already feel like I said a bunch of words that make no sense, so bear with me here because this is new to me. Chances are it's new to you, but I think it's going to be something really awesome. Now, although I don't review it enough here on this channel, I'm a very big collector of Mythic Legions figures, and I really should get around to reviewing a lot of my older stuff and even some of the newer ones because I really love them. They are my all-time favorite toy line, I would say. And I say it with a lot of confidence because I collect a lot of toy lines. But as far as modern toys go, you really can't beat Mythic Legions. And I'm always on the hunt for things that could fit into that universe. And when I saw this figure here on Big Bad Toy Store, I had to jump at the chance at getting him. Unfortunately, since then, he has sold out on Big Bad Toy Store, so if you want him, you're going to have to get him through other angles, but we'll talk about that later on here. But yeah, I've never heard of this company before, and this company is Maestro Union, and the line is FuRay Planet. So I guess it's kind of this anthropomorphic lineup of different animals doing all sorts of things throughout history. I think they've done some sharks and some bears also, or I might be conflating with some other toy lines. I don't quite know. Again, this is all a little new to me here, but when I saw this giant roided up looking tiger samurai warrior thing, I had to get him. So let's talk about this packaging real quick though before we get Master Weng out of the box here. And it's a really nice box, I have to say. You know, this is not necessarily on par with something like Mythic Legions, but I will say at the very least it looks extremely collector friendly. It's got some great box art of the character too, which is Master Weng, and it has an illustration of him with some of the accessories you're going to see once you get him out of the box. I really do love illustrations on toy boxes, and this one just looks so cool and really sets the tone for what we're about to see here. Now beyond that, we have a really nice large window that lets you see more of the figure itself, although it is hiding a bunch of his accessories, because behind him and even on the side, there's a few more things he comes with that we'll get into once we open him up. But take my word for it, this guy is packed to the teeth with accessories. Now, as far as the back of the box goes, it's very, very plain. It's got another illustration of the character here and a different style of artwork as well, a little bit more of a looser style. We also get a look at the character wearing more of his accessories and then a version of him without. And it also lets us know that this toy comes with a comic book, which is always fun to have. You don't really get that enough these days with toys, and for the most part, whenever they do, it's really either hit or miss. But based on how this packaging looks and how some of the artwork is already on it, I'm very much fingers crossed hoping that it's going to be really cool and also help explain who this character is. So we're going into this review pretty darn blind here, but I am very, very happy to do that because I'm hoping this line is going to be something really new and fun for me to collect. And if it's exciting and new for me, it's going to probably be exciting and new for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get our Master Weng out of the box and take a closer look at him from all angles. Alright, and here is our Weng the Blade Master figure out of the box, ready to go, and talk about imposing. I mean, that pretty much defines this figure immediately. This is such a cool looking character. So, alright, let's get this review started here. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is actually his height, because I also think that's like one of the things people are really, really curious about. So I'm going to break out the ruler right now, and let's just see. And he is close to 9 inches tall, maybe like somewhere around, closer to probably 8.5 inches, I think. So he's a very big tiger boy, but let's just do a few size comparisons right now, because I think a lot of folks are really curious about that, since he is pretty different. And yeah, let's go ahead and bring in a Tiger Force G.I. Joe classified figure of Outback to show how he looks against 1/12 scale figures, and also I have a Marvel Select by Diamond Select figure of Reed Richards that I just looked at recently on the channel as well. So that's how he's going to size up with 7-inch 1/10 scale figures, which would be more in line with like McFarlane toys as well. So again, you guys can kind of see here, he's going to be big, and that's what's kind of interesting about him. He's going to be big no matter what you put him up against. Really, the only thing that's going to make him look small is going to be a 1/6 scale 12-inch figure. But as far as these guys here, I mean, they got nothing on this tiger. He's eating his Frosted Flakes, that's for sure. So let's dive into some of the details now about Weng, and let's start off with that head, and that is such a cool looking head. One of the things that's really striking about it is really the sculpting and the paint job together. I mean, to combine those two things are amazing, but really even trying to look at them one at a time, it's almost impossible, because if you had a great head sculpt, it would mean nothing without a great paint job. Case in point, I talk a lot about AEW figures from Jazzwares on this, and I think they have good head sculpts, but the paint tends to destroy them and make them look garbagey. Whereas this one here, I mean, this is like a beautiful paint job and an amazing sculpting job here. So really, let's just look at the hair he's got on him. I mean, aside from the fur that he has, I mean, he's got this top knot over here, which is amazing looking. We've got this big fluffy tiger beard, and then the sculpted face itself. I mean, such great dimension and depth in there. And wow, they captured a great expression with this head as well. He's got some gnarling teeth over there, and you know, really, this is the total package, man. So talk about the paint job as well. Look at how intricate it is. I mean, we're talking multiple tones across this head as well. You guys can see it in the orange, and how it starts as one deep orange and spreads out to be lighter and lighter as we go along. There's all the little dots that make up where his whiskers are, his brow as well. And then, of course, all the little stripes that go with it. And we're not even talking about the weathering yet on this guy, because, yes, he has some shading here. He's got some shade. They put a really nice ink wash all over the hair to help make it a little bit darker. Not just be pure white, but actually add some value to it. And it really is like a beautiful head sculpt. I mean, wow, this is great. The eyes are really nice, too. The one thing I kind of wish was in the eyes that's missing are pupils. And you would think that, you know, with all this intricate paint work, even like highlighting on his nose, I mean, look at how those little details are. Look at his little whiskers that it's got painted on here. You would think with all those minuscule details, they would give him pupils, but for whatever reason, they didn't. Did they skimp out on it? No, I don't want to say that, because that's a terrible choice of words when you really look at this figure and you consider the cost. It's an interesting choice, though, that one little line they got rid of, and I'd love to know why. But I also think it might be a stylistic choice, because I don't know how many of their other figures have pupils or not. Now, this review is going to be a little bit out of order of how I normally do things, but that's because, well, heck, why not? It's Master Weng. He's special. We're going to do this differently. And the reason being is that Master Weng comes with a second head sculpt. This is a closed mouth version, so it seems to be fairly identical, I want to say. I mean, I think the top knot is actually, yeah, it looks like the top knot's actually positioned a little bit differently. They're a little bit close together, but not quite the same, actually. Yeah, the one that's currently on his body, you can see it's a little bit more ruffled. The fur is a little more ruffled, like around his, what we'll call his beard, I guess. This face that I'm holding in my hands, it's a lot calmer, a lot more serene looking, but it still has like the exact same amount of just gorgeous detail in this. I mean, this is just lavishly done. Man, you're already seeing why the price point of these guys is so much higher than your average figure. You're really getting what you pay for with these. So I think we'll try on heads maybe a little bit later on, but that's just a little sneak preview of what's to come with our Master Weng. So let's kind of just keep going down the body right now, because there's a lot more details to talk about here, and a lot of that, of course, is going to be in this body and articulation. But just one more time, just look at how great like this entire thing is, top to bottom. Like, man, it's tough to even figure out where to even go in this review. So you know what, maybe we actually will do a head swap now, mostly because I want to get this cape off. But before I do that, I am going to spend some time talking about this cloak. I guess we'll call it cloak. So great fur detail, wonderful paint job. This is a sort of softer, rubbery material that you're seeing here. We'll give it a little spin, and it wraps around his whole body. This really cool poncho. Again, multiple tones on it, some really nice sculpting detail in it that makes it really look and feel like actual fabric, as well as having actual fur. And mind you, we're already talking about this piece that's covered in real fur, so fur on top of fur, that's like furception. But all right, let's try to pop this head off and see how this goes. Everybody start crossing your fingers. So yeah, you take that to remove this cloak. That's what we're gonna do for now. We're gonna swap out with his other head. You can see the joint here. It's a nice little ball joint. Let's see how easy this goes in. All right, so here's the other head on him. Interesting thing I just discovered is the top knot actually is removable, or at least I hope it's removable, or else it just broke. But yeah, it looks like the top knot can actually come in and out. And all right, yeah, it does go back in just as easily. So I'm going to assume that that is meant to happen. In fact, yeah, okay, the other one does do that as well. So, okay, cool. That's good to know, because if you want him not wearing the top knot, you can do that just as easily. Granted, if you do that, he'll have a giant hole in the top of his head, so I don't really recommend it, but it's a thing you could do if you wanted. So let's take a better look now at this giant tiger guy's body. I mean, he is ripped. Now, I know in the past, they also did, this company, I should say, FuRay, or whatever we're calling them, they also did like a giant shark dude and some other characters who all are very, very muscly. So this one here, I don't know if it's a new body or not, but it's a cool body, and it's my first time actually seeing it. And, you know, I'll say this is the kind of thing that's going to look very different if it's painted up differently, too. So the fact is, this guy's got tiger stripes on him. The previous ones they'd done were like sharks. So, yeah, it's going to look pretty different in comparison just based on that alone. But, yeah, check out the traps in this dude. I mean, this guy is swole. So, you know, I guess we'll do a little bit of articulation now, too, because I'm very curious about that. But let's turn him around also first so you can see more of his back. I mean, look at those muscles there. That's like some serious, huge muscles there. Impressive. That's an impressive physique there for our tiger friend. All right, so We already saw that the neck is ball jointed. The head, I will say, by the way, it's not quite on completely. It's fitting, but it's not sitting, if you will. I think that's a good cat term to use in this review. So it's there, but it could definitely be tighter. And that actually does remind me that this figure did come with a little disclaimer. This actually came in the package here, and it basically says that joints in the figures can be tight, and they recommend that you heat them first before really doing much. I didn't do that here, so I'm definitely playing it by the skin of my teeth. So yeah, this is just an important thing that they actually do include. Very nice that they do that. And I recommend that because chances are that will absolutely affect the outcome of your figures and your enjoyment of them. So the head is ball jointed, neck is ball jointed, all can move around. This basically has like the equivalent of an Ultimate Edition figure in terms of articulation, like a WWE Ultimate Edition figure. So, you know, we have the torso that can move by the chest area. I think the waist will move, but the waist is completely covered up in this outfit. We'll come back to that. But he does have a butterfly joint in his chest, so you can get some, well, goodbye head. I'm gonna swap the other head back on for the time being just because that's actually fitting better. But yeah, you got butterfly joints in the arms to give you some real great flexibility in there, to get some better posing, which looks great. He has double jointed elbows on both arms, which is excellent. The wrists can bend and flex. And by the way, if you're wondering, the nails on him are so sharp. Like, oh my God, these are really, really sharp, dude. Yeah, ow, they kind of hurt. They're surprisingly sharp. They're as sharp as they look, so that's cool. But yes, the hands looks like they can bend and flex as well. They're just very tight, so maybe I should actually listen to them before I do too much more moving around with this guy. Looks like we do have a double jointed knee, but because of the way the pants are, you're not going to get a great range of motion on them. That's about as much as you can go. It's not even affected by this loincloth here. It's just the fact that the pants are so huge. But they can actually bend and move a little bit, so that's good at least. His feet also move, and his toes can move as well, so that's pretty solid. And likewise, if you're wondering, yes, the tail, it can move, but it's very, very tight right now, so I'm not going to wiggle it around too much more than what you see. But there is some good articulation on that. Now let's keep going down the body here, which is painted again amazingly, but I want to spend some time talking also about some of the other elements of this guy, including his gauntlets. These are really cool looking gauntlets. I mean, check out the detail on those. If you're wondering, every one of these rings individually moves. They are all independent of each other. That's wild to me. These gauntlets are part of his forearm, so they're not removable. You can't swap them out for someone else's figure. But again, they look great. And again, they're moving around. That's so cool. And talk about great paint job again. They're like kind of rusty. They have this great looking aged look to them. That's wonderful attention to detail. That's the kind of stuff you want to see with a toy like this. And likewise, I'm going to have Master Weng here do the Macarena for a moment so I could show you more around his sash and his waist area. Because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of really cool stuff. There's so many little details to look at here, so many nooks and crannies, and even accessories that are part of this. I mean, every angle, this thing is just like nuts to look at. Check out that great detail, all the great texture it's on this stuff. Like, that's just amazing to me. I mean, I really love these, like, sort of coins that are sewn into this armored part here on his leg. Again, a wonderful paint job, too. There's chainmail on them. There's so much going on in this. That's just, man, that's amazing to me. So there are some accessories over here already on his waist we could start talking about. One being this, and it is removable. He's got a little pipe that, let's see if we can get it completely out. It's a little snug, but there we go. So he actually has a pipe which he can hold, I believe, with one of his other hands. And you talk about detail, I mean, wow, that's like the tiniest little thing. You'll also notice that right next to that, there's these three little spots here that look like they could hold some kind of daggers or something, right? Well, that is correct because he comes with an additional 3 throwing daggers. And these will go in here. I just pulled 1 or 2 of them out right now just to test them out and see if they fit, but oh yeah, now we're getting him dressed for combat. That looks good. Really nice, again, paint job on those. Really simple, but very, very effective. They're not as simple as they look. I mean, they actually do have some highlighting on them. They look realistic. I mean, at least for me, they look realistic. I don't know how it's looking for you guys on camera, but they look pretty damn real. Likewise, you also have this jug here, which we could say it's for booze, could say it's for water, who cares? But yeah, again, just really nice little accessory. I don't know if these hands are gonna be able to hold this one or not. Let's find out. Actually, we probably put it through a finger, and that might do the trick. And there we go. So he's actually got that in his hand right now. It's basically like some kind of like gourd / water bottle thing, very old style water bottle, or water container, I guess we'll call it instead. But yeah, it looks so good. Great paint job on that as well. Man, every single thing, like they just thought about every little detail when it came to this character here. Amazing. And just as easily as it came off, I'm hoping it goes on just as easy, and yep, there we go. Smooth, nice. Now, as for Weng's feet, these are, again, really cool looking, can't get over them. I love that articulation, and the fact is, he actually is standing up by himself. There's been no base on him this entire video, it's just been him holding himself up, and I'm very impressed by that, because with these kinds of feet, you would think he'd have a very hard time standing up, but he's doing it. Like, that's very, very impressive alone. So yeah, that's great. But in addition to those feet that he's got on right now, he actually has 2 others. Now, unfortunately, these are definitely too tight for me to do a swap out right now. So I am just gonna kind of push Weng back for a moment to get a better look at these. But yeah, these are his other pair of shoes, and these will make him look like he's actually standing upright a little bit easier, because, you know, he is a tiger, so he's gonna be standing on his hind legs. But in the case of these, you can kind of hide that a little bit better, and they're a lot more straight, a little more vertical, so this will definitely help him out in making him feel a little bit more human. But do you really want that? Nah, I don't think I do, but it's nice to have them. Like, you know, I feel like these will be accessories I probably don't really use, because his real feet just look so much better. But these are nice to have, and they look really good. It just, these are very, very stiff. I can't even attempt to crack them, and I'm not going to try. So hey, remember that note about the hot air? Yeah, this will definitely be what you want to use some of that for. And by the way, on the note of accessories I'm not going to use, he also has this rope. This came in a bag that, along with throwing daggers, also included this little pouch. So I believe that's actually what you would put with the rope, because it has a little hole in it. You could tie it through, I would assume. If not, you could probably thread it onto something else. And this is either going to be like a little bag of catnip or a money bag. I don't know, but it's a very, very, very teensy tiny little pouch. I don't really have much use for it, but it's there if you want it. Now, zooming back up to his head for a minute here is actually another accessory we can include there, and that's this. We have an extra little bit of furry stuff we can put around his head to really bulk him out. That's probably actually how he should have been posed this entire time, but I opted not to. But yeah, this should definitely add a lot more furry dimension to him, and yeah, there you go. This definitely bulks him up. Again, not really needed, but it's very cool. You know, this reminds me of a lot of Mythic Legions figures now also, because there are some that have this like additional neck piece to kind of help them look more like the actual animals they are, not just have a weird human neck. So I will admit, it actually looks really good this way. Chances are I'm gonna have him displayed with the cape on for the most part, with this big cloak over here, so I'm not too concerned about this piece, but that really does look very, very excellent. And it adds a lot to it. Definitely helps out hiding some of the neck joint as well. That's a cool extra bonus piece, and there is more for the head, but I think we'll again come back to that when we get the cloak back on him. Now, Master Weng comes with 8 hands total. You've got the hands you currently see on him, which are kind of like these open claw hands. He also has 1 knife hand, 1 hand with 2 fingers pointing out, a pair of fists, and a pair of open fists, which is what we're going to actually swap out right now, so I could do one other accessory. But first, I am going to actually pop this out. We'll get this neck piece off of him, because I want to see if we could really deck him out for combat right now, but that actually might not be feasible, huh? All right, let's just do a quick hand swap, and I'll come back and show you what's up. Alright, well, so much for the hand swap. I was going to try and do it, but I actually managed to cut my finger somehow, because these claws are really that sharp. So yeah, those hands are not coming out without a blow dryer, but I will at least show you guys one of the closed fists. So yeah, this would have been really handy for his other main accessory. This is really the big one I wanted to talk about, and that would be this right here. This is his sword case. Yeah, he actually comes with a case to hold his swords, and this is, again, just like beautifully detailed, beautifully sculpted. It's got a great wood texture to it. The metal has this very aged, weathered look to it as well. It's got combinations of like green and bronze colors in there. Yeah, this is really excellent over here. Just, man, this is great. And when you open it up, because it does actually open, you can see we have our twin blades for Master Weng, because after all, he is the Blade Master. So I'm going to take these out right now. I would have loved to have put them into his hands and actually show them to you on his body, but don't think that's going to happen today. So here's one of the swords, and you can just see like how amazing the detail is in this. And yeah, these are little rings here that are actually hanging independent of the sword. And look at this. This is just like amazing. It feels very light, by the way, too, I should add. This is a very light weapon as far as the weight of it. You know, it's meant to be a heavy sword, but the weight of the actual toy itself is not at all. And I love just like the little detail inside there. The hilt as well is really, really nice looking. I mean, all around, this is just like some real amazing detail. This is not the kind of detail you get with the typical mass-produced toys. This is really the kind of stuff you can only get in something like this. Now, I will admit, looking at the sword handle, I don't know how he's going to easily get that into his hand, because this is what that hand looks like. I feel like if you try and get it in there, you're going to I don't know. You're gonna need to, number one, really heat up your joints, because if you don't, you're gonna probably scratch this part of the sword with these massive claws. I mean, I want to try it. I'm just so afraid to do it. I mean, maybe not, actually. There seems to be, yeah, okay. I will go back and say again, if you heat this up, this will go a lot better. So it is fitting in there. It's just very tight, and maybe the nails won't be as big as of an issue. Let's see. All right, yeah, it's going. All right. You know, I take back what I was saying. So yeah, you should still heat it up, but you're not going to have to worry too much about damaging the hilt. But yeah, this would look really great if you can get it all the way in. And man, okay, that's really nicely done. And here is both swords as well, so you can see how good they look together as a pair. Man, just like, how awesome are these? I really do wish I can get those hands swapped out, but they are very difficult right now. But yeah, there they are, back to back. But there the swords are, and these are some of the best swords I've seen for a toy in a long, long time. And now there is one final accessory to take a look at. I'm going to move them over for a moment here. And yes, I did put the cloak back on because I feel like it's appropriate for this final accessory here. That's because we have a hat for him. He's got a hat. And you want to talk about some texture on this? Now that's amazing. So I think this would be why, like, you'd probably want to take off the top knot, but you don't really even need to. It just fits right on top of his head, and it is definitely blocking out some sun, because look at how dark he became all of a sudden. This is so dramatic looking, but man, does it look good. So that's pretty much all the accessories for him. It's a lot. I wish I could show the hands again, and apologies for not being able to, but it just is not going to happen today. So that's a look at the accessories and everything else this figure comes with, and it's a lot of stuff. And again, I apologize for not being able to do a hand swap. It's just that these things are just, they are beyond stiff. They look great. Again, like they all look wonderful. They're painted really great. But the fact is, yeah, you definitely need to make sure you got yourself a hair dryer or something. That's going to be the way to do this. You're going to want the hair dryer, not hot water, but a hair dryer. That's going to be the most effective way to hit this thing up, hit them up with all the joints, loosen them up, and then you'll get some real value out of this guy here. But even without that, I mean, I don't feel bad at all for what I've spent on this, and this was not cheap, but it's worth it. It's worth every single penny I spent on him, that's for sure. I mean, just looking at all the detail this guy has is just wild, and really, I mean, I will definitely be buying more from this company very soon. Now, I do want to point out one other thing that this figure came with, and that will be this comic book. Yeah, they gave us a comic book too, because why the heck not? So yeah, we've got a comic, and I will say, you know, if this is what they're doing to like add some extra value to the toy, not really working. I'm not going to show you guys every single page because I don't really want to, but it's meant to show some of the backstory for the character, and in fact, there's another character who's going to be getting a toy very soon. And then it brings us to like modern day, I guess, where he's defending, yeah, he's trying to defend stuff, but yeah, the comic is not in English, so that doesn't really help me at all. And then the rest of the comic is just like pin-ups of other characters and some other designs. You know, the fact is I don't read Chinese, so I have no idea what's happening here, but it's not that impressive. Frankly, it's just not really worth it. So I would love for them to not really do this next time around. I mean, again, I don't know what's happening. Maybe there's a bigger story at play that I just don't know because I can't read what's happening. And as far as the visuals go, they're fine, but they're not really anything to like write home about. So, you know, if getting rid of this meant giving us another weapon or something like that, I'd be down for it. But I also know paper's a lot cheaper than plastic, so, you know, I'm not going to complain about a free comic. I just kind of wish that maybe there was a way to read this in English that was a little more accessible, but that's just me. But at the end of the day, Weng the Blade Master is a seriously top-notch figure. Definitely going to be one of my top figures of the year. And it fits in real well with my Mythic Legions. I didn't break out any right now because they're currently in a glass case. They're a little hard to get to, but yes, they will fit in very nicely with Mythic Legions because, well, as we saw earlier with the comparison between the Diamond Select figures, they are closer to that size. So yeah, Master Weng will be on the bigger size, but that's not abnormal for Mythic Legions because there's a lot of bigger characters also in that series. So I'm going to definitely give a recommend for this guy. Find him if you can. Just recently he showed up on Amazon, so I'm going to have a link for him, hopefully somewhere where I could find him available for sale. And you're going to want to get him while you can because I don't think he's going to be sticking around for very long. If you want to buy Weng the Blade Master for yourself, check out my description for this video below. You're going to find links to some places you can find him, but for real, this is one you don't want to wait on because when he's gone, he's not coming back. So hopefully this is the beginning of a lot more looks at toys from this company, from FuRay Planet. I'm really excited about this guy. I'd love to hear what you think about him too, so make sure you leave a comment and let me know what you think about this guy. And you can also yell at me for not swapping out the hands if you want. I'll allow it this time. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. That's Weng the Blade Master. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here soon with more action figure reviews, statue unboxings, and everything else we do here on the channel.